Welcome back, everyone. Got Mrs. RSV4 right here. And you're probably wondering, where the hell am I? I'm not on a motorcycle. So we are at the Narrows at Zion National Park in Utah. And this is our first time hiking the Narrows. So while we're walking, I'll talk about a couple things that we learned along the route. You ready? So excuse the wind noise or the water noise. I can't really control it, and I didn't bring my external microphone, so it is what it is. But a couple of things that we noticed is that on the website it says that the scenic drive, which takes you up here to the last shuttle stop, which is the Temple of Sinawawa, stop number 9, is where you catch the beginning of the Narrows. That scenic drive is closed from about May through, I think, October, and only the shuttle buses can come up here. That being said, it was a little confusing on the website because it looked like you could drive as long as it's before 6 a.m. when the shuttle starts. Well, much to our surprise, it was closed. So we had to park at the visitor center, which at 6 a.m. there's plenty of parking spaces. Strongly suggest getting here early. And then you catch the shuttle. It's about, I don't know, 30-minute ride or so on the shuttle up to the last stop, number 9, Temple of Sinawawa, where there's a trail, about a 1-mile paved trail that takes you to the beginning of the Narrows, which is the river, the Virgin River itself. And along the route, you see really deep water and not so deep water. And I'll show you some stuff along the way. And, oh, this is the turnoff. So I guess we made it to the split. This is about 2 miles in, I think. Yeah, about just over 2 miles. And Wall Street is straight that way. And then this leads you to Orderville Canyon. But you have to have a permit after you go so far. Same thing straight up ahead. But we're going to go down this one on the way back. First thing we're going to do is go straight and see what's up there. There's a couple deep spots which I'll film as we go. But we're going to take the left split right here. And when I come across something cool, I'll turn the camera back on. All right, Mrs. RSV4 decided that it'd probably be a good idea to take the right split since everyone else and their sister is going that way first. So we're going to go to the right, which is towards Orderville Canyon. Again, this is about halfway, I don't know, 2 miles in or something like that, not including the 1-mile trek to the start of the Narrows.
2.24.
So yeah, 2.24 miles river hiking to the split. So this is the right side split, and again, this is Orderville Canyon. So we'll see what's this way. And by the way, the water level must be down some because you can tell it's wet up here in a lot of places, and it's not that deep. Some people said there's places where you actually have to swim because it's so deep. We have not come across anything like that, but there are a couple deep pools here and there where you do have to get deep. The worst we've had it so far is about upper thigh high, and I'm 5'9", 5'10", so it was about, yeah.
The water's not flowing over the rocks today.
Yeah, supposedly there's a waterfall here, but I guess the water level is so far down that it's not coming over the water or over this rock. And yeah, and so you could imagine this rock, how deep it is. If it comes over that rock, so this part here, you probably have to swim up to it. So thank goodness there's no swimming, because by the way, the water is not warm. It's about, I'd say, 50, 55 degrees. It's comfortable, you get used to it, but it is chilly. So I'm gonna shut the camera off so I can maneuver this waterfall they got going here. All right, so we made it up that rock, but I dropped the GoPro into the water. Fortunately, I caught it with my foot before it got washed down. And now we're gonna see what's up farther this way. So you can see where the water line normally is, right about here. And for me, this is about waist level. So if the water is moving pretty quick and it's waist deep, it would be quite the struggle to walk through here. I don't know if you could really do it, maybe, but it'd be really slow and it'd be a struggle. And again, the water is not warm at all, so got to keep that in mind. So far, being in just over 2 miles, 2.25 miles, there's a lot of dry land, which I didn't expect, but I think it's because the water level is down. So there was a lot of places, I'd say probably 50-50 water versus walking on the shoreline. But again, it's because of the water level. Today is July 25th, and it is monsoon season for Utah, believe it or not. But apparently it hasn't been that bad. And the water in this canyon is actually pretty small. But on the way back, I'll film some of the stuff that we already went through. I was gonna just start the video on the way back down, but I just decided to break out the GoPro and film some of this. So we're still up here at Orderville Canyon, walking along. And you notice the nice green vegetation on the side. And Mrs. RSV4 just pointed out, why is this rock all wet all of a sudden? And something you need to know is that if there's a flash flood, which by the way can happen anytime, and today, as a matter of fact, at the beginning of the trail, there's a sign that tells you the likelihood of a flash flood. And today was probable. So there's not likely, I think there's likely, and then there's probable, and then there's like, it's gonna happen. I can't remember the exact wording. I'll show it to you on the way out. But today was probable. But the unique thing to this is you have this canyon, and you can see right here, straight up, I don't know, a few hundred feet. And if there's a flash flood and you're sitting right in here, you're pretty much screwed, glued and tattooed. There's nowhere for you to go. You can't really climb anywhere. The wall is mossy and slick and wet. And if there's a flash flood, yeah, this is where you, this is how you go out. So, and there's a lot of other places too where the canyon walls close in. In fact, back there at the split, I think it's called Wall Street, and when you go in there, it's just a closed canyon with several hundred feet straight high walls, and I'll show that to you soon. But yeah, if there's a flash flood, you're pretty much screwed. So you just got to be careful, make sure there's no storms, and you can make it through. If it's raining or it's gonna rain, I strongly suggest you don't do it, and then just have fun. So this is I think as far as we're gonna go. We wanted to see the waterfall, but then we realized that big rock back there close to the split was where the waterfall actually is, and that you have to swim up to it. But as you can see, there's another rock, and I'm sure this is the other place where you would have to swim because the water level is right about there, and you'd have to swim up to this rock, and with the current coming towards you, it'd be pretty rough. But you can see where these people are waving at us, and yeah, they just managed to climb up. But I don't think there's much to see past here. I think it's just pretty much the same thing, and it goes out to Orderville, Utah. But I think from here on out, we're just going to turn around and go back, and then I'll show you Wall Street, and then the main trail. And then on the way back, if you watch to the end of the video, I'll tell you a few more things that you need to know about this trip, especially like what kind of gear, things like that, and what we learned from it, doing it ourselves. And because there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about the Narrows, and some of them are confusing. We were confused after watching some of it, so we just took pieces of every video that we saw, put it all together, and came up with what we thought would be the best. And I'll tell you what gear we brought, why we brought it, and what kind of setup we had, and how it fared out. But if you watch to the end, I'll talk about that. And like I said, I'll show you the rest of the trail and some of the cool stuff that I didn't film on the way up. Later in this video, I'll show you that. All right, we're back at the so-called waterfall, and these canyons are absolutely amazing. But you can tell where the water level is, usually right here, and this is about neck level for me. And when this comes down and there's a waterfall right here, this is the the place where you have to swim. And the missus is going to attempt to do this, and let's see how she fares on this deal. She's going to have to sit in the water. Yep, and it's cold. So now we're going to see how I do, but I'm going to shut the camera off because I can't hold it. All right, so we're back at the split. So we came from this way, and now we're going to turn to the right. And I think, if I remember correctly, on the map, this is called Wall Street. And it's because the walls of the canyon, as you can see, several hundred feet up, just pretty much close in on you. And there's nowhere for you to go, especially if there's a flash flood. So make sure you check the weather forecast a couple days before as well. June through, I think, September or October? July, I'm sorry. July through September is the monsoon season. So it can rain every day. There's a 40% chance of rain today. So like I said before, the water temperature, I would estimate about 50, 55 degrees. Pretty cold, but you get used to it real quick. And there's moss everywhere on these rocks, and they're very slippery. So you gotta go slow. Average speed, I think, is about 2 miles an hour is what you're getting. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Some places there's dry land, so you can pick up the pace. But if the water level is higher, that dry land disappears. And I would venture to say that this is one of the harder places to walk. Some of the other places we walked in the water wasn't as slippery, and the rocks are unstable. So this is still Wall Street. One of the things you got to be aware of is that the current is pretty strong. It's only about ankle deep, a little more than ankle deep. But the rocks are very slippery. They move under your feet. So you're literally taking one step at a time. And you can walk through the center, but it's more difficult. And so you have to kind of walk over here along the wall where you can maybe grab onto the wall. It's very difficult to hold the camera, my hiking stick, and keep my balance at the same time. But I think I'm gonna go out to the middle and be like this man in front of me. But as you can see, he's like having a hard time as well. The missus is doing pretty good, hiking along the wall. That's probably the safest thing to do, unlike me. Now again, I think this section of the Narrows, Wall Street, is probably the most difficult of all, only because the rocks are very, very slippery. They move under your feet. The current is strong. Here the water is about knee high, and the current is pretty strong, so it's tough to walk. Here you're probably walking quarter mile, half mile an hour. So this now might be a good time to talk about gear. If you notice, some people throughout the video will have like these red shoes on, and they'll have these really big wooden hiking sticks. So you can get that at any one of the outfitters, Zion Outfitters, which is right at the entrance to the park in Springdale, Utah. It's about 29 bucks for a day. But we didn't do that. We just have a pair of neoprene socks off Amazon and regular hiking shoes. I have a set of Merrell hiking shoes with some aggressive tread on the bottom, and they do just fine. In fact, I'm glad I did this. Can you rent it and do well with the others? I'm sure it's fine. This worked out very well for me. As far as the hiking stick, I got this Trail Buddy collapsible adjustable hiking stick off Amazon. You get 2 in the set for, I don't know, 30 bucks, and they are awesome. I highly recommend them. They work well. They close up. You can attach it to your backpack. It's got this strap on it. You can hook it around your wrist. Wet dry shorts and wet dry shirt, a backpack with a camel pack in it full of water. We got some snacks. I highly recommend like a Ziploc bag for your car keys, things like that, things that can't get wet. Put in a Ziploc bag. We got some snacks, extra bottle of water. Make sure you bring water. Again, today's July 25th, 2022. I would estimate the temperature is about probably 80 degrees, maybe 85, something like that. We're not sweating at all. We started at 6 a.m. We didn't get on the train or the shuttle till about 6:30, I think. And we started the trail exactly to the Narrows at 7:01. And right now it's 9:38. and we are almost halfway. We've gone 4.17 miles, and I think the one way up, not including the paved trail to the start of the Narrows, that 1 mile, I think it's 4.5 from where you get in the water to the halfway mark, where you got to turn around unless you have a permit to go further. And I'm assuming they have some sort of sign, gear otherwise. That's about it. I think we did pretty well. The missus said the same thing about the poles, is that these turned out to be a really good purchase on Amazon. I was a little worried about it, but to be honest with you, they turned out great. Also say make sure you bring a hat, and I think that's about it. Again, this is late July, so the weather's good.
Yeah, we tried to go park at the entrance to the Narrows.
Yeah.
Closed.
Yeah, the entrance to the Narrows, the parking lot at the Temple Sinawawa is closed because that scenic route is only open for the shuttle bus between May and September, I think, or October. So, but yeah, so we're going to keep going further. But again, this is the Wall Street section, and it's really difficult to walk in the water. So I'll show you some more, and we'll talk about some more things later in the video. So we just came down this section right here where you can walk along the shoreline, and then all of a sudden you have to cross. And it's a really cool view, especially with the canyons closing in on you. It's just an absolutely amazing view. There's a nice deep pool right there, which I'm not going to go into. That water is cold, but you get used to it. It takes about 2 minutes, and your legs are completely used to it. What also I noticed is when you're walking in the water, you're pretty cool. You're not sweating or anything, although you don't really sweat in Utah anyway because it's so dry heat. But when you're walking along the shoreline, which I'll show you later in the video, and you can actually get some speed going, you get a little hot, especially in the middle of the day. Of course, this is morning in Utah, so it's not so bad. But when you jump in the water, it's actually kind of refreshing. Even though I'm allergic to cold water, I hate cold water. But even someone like me, I'm totally used to it. And like right here, it's up to my calf. But as you can see, a little bit farther up, and you'll see later in the video, a couple places where it actually gets pretty deep, even though the water level's down. I can only imagine what it's like when the water level's up higher. So I'm gonna walk over here to closer to the wall. It's not as deep here, but over there, it's probably, I'd say along that wall, it's probably waist deep. So one other thing I meant to point out is a lot of people will tell you that you need 2 hiking sticks. I'm going to disagree on that. The reason being is there's places, especially like here in Wall Street, where you're grabbing on either the wall of the canyon, or you're grabbing onto a rock, like back there at that what would have been a waterfall, and sometimes you even need 2 hands. So I think having 1 hiking stick and having 1 hand free to grab onto things is probably the way to go. I would discourage bringing 2 hiking sticks. It's nice to have one, and I definitely suggest you have one, because it would be much more difficult to doing this hike without a hiking stick. You get good balance and good leverage, but you could do it without a hiking stick, but I strongly discourage that. At least bring 1. This Trail Buddy that I have from Amazon is the way to go. $30 and you get both of them, and you get different ends on them too. You can replace it for like snow, or I can't remember what other ends it comes with, but it can be used in multiple places. All right, so this is one of the deeper sections we're gonna have to go through. As you can see, it's about butt deep.
Oh my gosh, stay right there, Mel. She's dead. Look. Oh, you're melting. No! Oh, you didn't even. No, we're giving her a hard time. I think she's got her smoke.
I guess you could have went around right there. I guess you could have went up that rock and go around it, but so what I didn't record on video was that a minute ago there's a big log right across the entire waterway, and there's a gap underneath, so you can either climb over or climb under. I decided to go under, and I got my backpack hooked on the bottom of the log and made me sit down in the water. So now my entire pants is wet. But hey, such is life. The missus decided to go over the log, but she stayed dry. So what did we learn from this? Go over the log. So exactly 4 miles in from the start of the Narrows and 5 miles in from the restroom where the parking lot is, you come to this split with this big rock in the middle. It's not really a split, but you can go both ways. That side looks really, really deep. This side, as you can see, the missus is pretty much up to her waist. And then you have to climb over this rock. So here you need both hands, so I'm going to put the GoPro down, but I just wanted to film how she's getting up it. And that's pretty much it. So now it's my turn. She made it. So we made it across that obstacle, and then we came right through that water. Over here is really deep, so there's a bunch of rocks and some logs, so we went up around behind those logs, climbed up down through there, came over here. I crossed. The missus is still up here on this other side. I guess you could go either side, but I just decided to go the easier, faster, dry route. She decided to hike through the water. The hardest part about here is that the rocks are very, very slippery. Ever since we got to that split, the Orderville Canyon split and Wall Street started, the rocks are just really, really slippery. They move under your feet. The current is strong, and it's really not that bad, but it's enough to unsteady your feet. So that's been the longest and hardest part about it. And of course, a couple of deep obstacles, but for the most part, up until that point, it's been pretty smooth. I guess if the whole Narrows Trail was like the Wall Street section, or even this section here, it'd be really, really difficult, and it would take you a lot farther. And right now we are 5.13 miles in from the actual parking lot where the restrooms are. So you subtract the 1 mile where the Narrows start, so we're 4.13 miles in the actual Narrows. And you can see the canyon is closed in pretty tight. Not as bad as Wall Street, but it's still pretty tight, and there's straight up walls. It's a little bit easier to walk here. So we just talked to another guy, and they were coming back, and I asked them if they went to the end. They said no. They said they went up another 30 minutes or so, and they turned around. So I don't know exactly where the end is. I could have swore they said it was 4.5 miles in, but we're right at coming up on 4.5 miles, and that guy said they went a while farther and they still didn't get to the end, the point where you have to have a permit to go further. So I guess we'll see. So what do you think was the hardest part?
I think just the current, when the current's really fast and the rocks are slippery from the moss, and you just can't find your footing. You can't see because of the white water. So you just have to go slow.
You think the Narrows is the toughest part of this? I mean, I'm sorry, the Wall Street is the toughest part of Narrows?
Yeah, I definitely think so, yeah. The beginning was a lot easier.
Yeah, she said the beginning was a lot easier. I think so too, up until you got to the Wall Street, that split. From that point on, it was just difficult to walk. I guess I should have went over to that side sooner. Because here the current is very strong. And the rocks are slippery. Oh my goodness, they're slippery. And the current is moving your foot. Make sure I don't sit down in the water, because that's not going to be comfortable. So if you pay attention to these people coming towards us, The shoes that they have on are the ones that you can rent, and they have the hiking sticks as well.
There's a bunch of boulders, and it gets a little deeper, and there's a lot of trees that are washed up there.
Okay.
And then that was kind of it. So yeah, it's like really, really big boulders, and it's nice.
Well, we're not sure if it was the end or not, so.
Yeah, it's
We
like
just kept
another
going
20
until it was getting
minutes.
too difficult.
Yeah, it's like another 20 minutes. You'll see these really, really big boulders.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a good part to turn around.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so in case you didn't hear on the camera, those two people said that they went about 20 more minutes up, and then there's some really big boulders and stuff across. And so they said it's really difficult and it gets deep, so they didn't go any farther. So that might be the end, and that's about right, about 4.5 miles or so. But you can see that's pretty deep right there. And then got this nice canyon. Look at those rocks falling down in there. So this looks pretty deep, but I think we can go around this way. A little bit better. We don't have to go swimming.
Right.
I think it goes around, right? We'll find out. If not, we have to go swim. But those two people look dry, so I'm guessing this is probably the right way.
Definitely more technical. Let's go farther.
Yeah, the farther you go on this hike, the more technical it gets. Pretty much after that split, right?
Yes.
Because up to that split, it wasn't bad at all. But then after the split, it gets a lot more technical. You're going to get wet.
What I wanted. The sunshine on the rock.
She wanted to see the sunshine on the rocks. Going downstream would probably be easier. Although I did hear on other YouTube videos that other people thought the same thing and they realized it wasn't.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'll let you know. When we go back down, I'll let you know how it is. Well, I think we've made it to the end. They said that there's a whole lot of like boulders and branches and stuff across the path. And I think this is it. We just came past this big massive boulder. And there's a bunch of debris here. And that's the end right there. I guess you could go past it if you wanted to. You could climb over all that crap, but we're not going to do that today. In fact, I don't think we're ever going to climb past that. But you could if you wanted to. Totally possible. But you can see all the debris that comes down during flash flooding. I mean, there's like massive logs and debris. You can see right here, a bunch of debris. Just crap everywhere. So now I think we're going to take a break, grab a snack, do all that, and then I think we'll head back. So on the way back for the rest of this video, I'll show you a couple places that we found were really cool, really nice to see, and I'll point that out. And at the very end, I'll do a quick recap of just basically what you need to know, everything you should bring, that kind of stuff. Just a quick recap for you, and then I'll close out this video. But I did want to just show you how awesome and amazing the Narrows at Zion is. And actually there's people, I just see them coming down that trail right there, so I guess you could go past there if you wanted to, but we're not going to do that. I think we're going to stop here and take a break. But stay tuned, and I'll point out some other things, and then we'll do a recap at the end, and that'll close out this video. So we're on the way back now. We had lunch. We're I don't know, maybe half a mile or so from where we had lunch. But I just wanted to point out the beauty of this canyon and the way the sunlight hits it. It's just absolutely amazing. Beautiful canyon, especially the way the sunlight comes up. You can see the trees, the plush greenness. Although we're not going to see that for too much longer, but it's just absolutely amazing. And the clear water. Of course, one thing I forgot to mention in this video was the fact that there's a cyanobacteria in the water, which is like a flesh-eating bacteria. And according to the National Park Service, the level of the cyanobacteria is at a safe level, but you still don't want to drink the water or dunk your head in, so they say. So I guess if you had to swim, make sure you keep your head out of water and you should be okay. They also suggest if you have any open cuts, make sure that's covered up. So the missus just pointed it out to us that as you can see, the canyon's coming down. We just got the sunlight and it was really hot. And we stepped into this this canyon here where the sun's not right above us. But one of the things she pointed out was, if you notice on the wall where the moss is, you can see where the water line normally is. Now the missus is 5'3", and you can 5'2", excuse me, 5'2", and you can see that the moss line is above her head. So you could tell if the water level's that high, there's no way you're walking through here. Impossible. So the water level today, I'm very thankful that it's as low as it is, but I gotta say that it is difficult to walk, and it's very slippery. So one of the other things that just happened, and another couple walking a little bit ahead of us, they said the same thing. We thought we heard thunder, even though there's not really any cloud in the sky. We heard thunder a couple times, and we're like, oh snap, well, let's beat feet and get out of this canyon, because if that flash flood comes, yeah, we got nowhere to go. So that's what we're doing now. We're gonna step it up and try to get out of here. The only problem is this section through Wall Street is just slow and methodical. So anyway, I'll point out some other things along the way. All right, so we are on the way back out, and I apologize for not turning the camera on sooner, but there's a massive black cloud, a storm coming right behind us. And we wanted to get out of there as fast as possible, especially out of the narrow funnel of the Wall Street section, because if the flash flood comes, you got nowhere to go. And the sky above us is looking nasty. I don't know how well the camera can pick that up, but we need to get out. So unfortunately, I didn't get to film a couple of the spots that I wanted to, just because we're kind of trying to hightail it as quickly as possible. And so they always tell you, for your own safety, if you see thunder, lightning, anything like that, or the water level rises or starts moving faster, get out. And I didn't want us to get caught in that what they call Wall Street, just because it's like a fatal funnel and there's nowhere for you to go. At least at a place like this, you can go up kind of high, so if the water level gets bad or starts getting crazy, you can actually go up a little higher. But back there in that tight section, there's just nowhere for you to go, so you don't want to be caught in there. So yeah, the clouds are looking pretty nasty, and back there in that tight section, the wind picked up real bad. It's almost like a funnel through there. Just the wind was whipping through, and I told Mrs. we need to beat feet. So I feel like we're out of the danger zone, and as you can see, we're walking along the side of the river, and right now we are at 6 hours of hiking, right at 6 hours, and 9.62 miles total, and that's from the parking lot, not from where we stepped into the river. From the original spot we stepped into the river, we are at 8.62 miles total. So I feel like we are very close to the end where we get out of the water. But I feel good that we're out of the danger element, because just because it's not raining here, as you can see, the clouds are still looking kind of nasty above us, but you don't know what happened upstream. So they could have had a massive storm, and the flood could come at any moment without any notice. Well, you might get a couple minutes, but that's about it. So anyway, I feel good. We're out of danger, and now we're just hiking it back. No need to haul ass this time. We can actually kind of slow down a little bit. But unfortunately, there's a whole lot of people going back up, which you're playing a dangerous game there, in my opinion. But to each his own. I can also tell you this: when you get out of the water for a few minutes and you walk on the side, and then all of a sudden you get back in, the water's pretty cold. Yeah, so Mrs. RSV4 said that the cold water feels good on her legs. on the muscles and knees and stuff. It's kind of refreshing. So now we just go get out of the river. This is where you come in. This is where you go out. You go up these stairs, and then there's a 1 mile paved trail back to the shuttle bus. And from there, you catch the shuttle back to the visitor center parking lot, and there's a squirrel. He's a little guy. He's looking for some food. And so anyway, this is where you get in and get out. And this is what it looks like. So start here, end here, and there's the dad squirrel or mama squirrel, because he's a big one. And then from here on out, you just walk this path 1 mile back to the shuttle stop. So as you all see, the Narrows is now closed. It's because of high water and high flow. So now you are no longer allowed to go on the Narrows. So I guess we did good getting out of there as quickly as possible, because as you can see, the sky is looking pretty nasty up there. And probably upstream was a massive storm. So anyway, here's the shuttle. There's a nice line, so it looks like we might be here for a little while, but that's okay. We'll make it back, and then we'll do a final recap of this adventure. All right, so just to give you a recap of what's going on with this trip. As you can see, the rain finally moved in. I was going to film the rest of this video at the park, but it started raining on us, and that storm I've been talking about and why we hurried up to get out of Zion is because this massive storm came through. It finally started to calm down. It's just barely sprinkling now, but a massive storm came through. In fact, they shut down the park, at least the Narrows portion, and you saw the sign. The water flow is above 150 cubic feet per minute, which is dangerous. The water level also rose. When I was walking back, I thought for sure that I felt like the water was higher and moving faster, and that confirmed that I wasn't just imagining it, it really was. And so anyway, we're back at the casita, our Airbnb. It got a pretty nice view, but basically what I wanted to say was that it was a fantastic trip. The takeaways from it is to make sure that you show up bright and early, park at the visitor center, take the shuttle up and up to the stop 9, the Temple of Sinawawa. Take it up there and get in the Narrows and hike it. We did it in 7 hours and 30 minutes, and we ended up hiking 12 miles, 6 up and 6 back. Make sure you keep tabs on the weather. They did say that a couple years ago they had to rescue a whole bunch of people that got caught. They ended up taking high ground. It took them almost a day to go get them. So they were stuck out there on the Narrows for almost a day. And they also said that some people have died in the past from ignoring it. And the flash flood came, and they pretty much said it's like a wall of water. And it's it'll take you all the way downstream, and you will pretty much die. So it's, take caution, take heed to their warnings, because it's no joke. So fortunately, we didn't overreact. We actually ended up coming out, and we did very well. What else do we need? Let's talk about gear. As we mentioned before, good hiking shoes, these Merrells. This is what you need. Some neoprene socks would help. I didn't have it, but you can get them on Amazon. A hiking stick like the one I showed you, a backpack. Make sure you have plenty of water, some snacks, sunglasses, sunscreen, a hat would help. And go have fun. Have a good time. Enjoy. And you should be okay. If you have any questions or comments, anything about Zion or specifically the Narrows, I've been to Zion before, but never did the Narrows. I've done a couple of the other trails, but I've never done the Narrows. So if you have any questions specifically about the Narrows or one of the other trails, leave a comment below. I'll answer any questions you have. The reason I didn't do this video like everybody else does, because I feel like most every video you watch is pretty much the same thing and the same type of information, but not really clear and concise. Sometimes it's confusing, and some of the things that I was confused about I answered in this video. But if you still have any questions, please hit me up, leave a message, a comment below, and we'll get it straightened out, and I'll try to help you with any questions you might have. And by the way, we have llamas, or I'm sorry, alpaca on this property, this Airbnb, but I think they're in their house over there. And we also have 2 donkeys somewhere in there. Anyway, they're pretty cool. They come around. We fed them yesterday, and it's pretty awesome. Supposedly there's like coyote and deer that run around, like mule deer with the big giant ears, supposedly come running around. We didn't see any of them, but we did see the alpaca live right there. So anyway, I will close this video out by saying thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please leave it below, and hit that like and subscribe button, help my channel out. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next video.